name is Muralidharan. I have a Jal Secretary of the National Platform for Rights to Disabled.
I'm Avni. I'm Dr. Jyoti Mishra.
My name is Shahzada Khurram.
Hi everybody, my name is Seema Jaiswal and I'm a mental health professional.
My name is Rajat and I live in Delhi with my family.
Okay, my name is Mona Sharma.
I'm Vijay Nalawala from Mumbai.
So my name is Amrit Bakshi.
I'm Dr. Jagadisha Tirthalli. I'm a professor of psychiatry.
My name is Rahul Jain. I am HR professional.
My name is Devu Mishra. I'm a management consultant.
I'm Ruchi Bhatia and I am founder of HR Gurukul.
My name is Varsha and I'm a psychotherapist.
I have 45 years of lived experience with bipolar disorder.
I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder almost 16 years ago.
I have bipolar affective disorder since the age of 17. And with this condition, I have completed my entire education. That is BTech, MTech, PhD in computer science, and then MBA.
In 2015, I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and suffered for the next 4 years.
I earned a PhD degree in biology from Germany, and thereafter in India, I have worked in various companies across fields, both academia and corporate.
And I am a caregiver for somebody in my family who has a severe mental disorder.
My own journey of recovery from this serious mental health condition led to the formation of Bipolar India in 2013.
I'm currently working with an MNC in Gurgaon and life is stable and good as of now.
I am a caregiver of my daughter, the only child, for the last 31 years.
I run a service user organization called Manurathi Foundation, in which we work with people living with mental health conditions, their families, and other people that are supporting them.
It's a cross-disability rights organization working with a pan-India presence.
Are young people in their late teens or early 20s, and this is the time when their education and employment opportunities take shape, and the mental illness can disrupt both of these.
And currently working as an head of HR with Tefe Group.
I work in the space of leadership and also work with startups and corporates on the people and leadership agenda.
Currently, I'm working with Massey Center as a program coordinator for maternal infant mental health.
I've been working in the field of mental health for the 5 years now.
Frankly, I think employers are just scared that if they hire someone with mental illness, they will not be a resource but rather a liability. I think they don't realize that people with mental illnesses can actually be very productive and efficient workers. They can be actually assets to a company.
In my experience, majority of persons with mental illness get excluded from the formal work zone arena.
When it comes to employment, if you've had mental health issues, organizations usually shy away because at the end of the day, it's about how well you can perform.
There is a lot of misinformation in the society. They think that somebody who is having this condition is actually will be a problem for the organization.
A lot of time people think that, the social situation will be affected because the person is affected with some mental health illness, and that social situation being affected can affect work.
There is, in general, lack of empathy in the society.
If you ask me for my opinion, I would not say that people do not organizations don't give employment to people with mental illness. They do.
Majority of people with mental health conditions do not disclose their conditions. Yeah.
दुनिया धीरे धीरे सेल्फ सेंटर्ड हो गई है. लोग सिर्फ अपने बारे में सोचना जानते हैं और सोचना चाहते हैं. उन्हें कोई एक्स्ट्रा ट्रबल नहीं चाहिए, क्योंकि हकीकत तो ये है कि इन माहौल के अंदर अपने खुद के बच्चों को संभालना मुश्किल हो रहा है, अपने रिश्तेदारों को संभालना मुश्किल हो रहा है, अपने रेगुलर पेड स्टाफ को संभालना मुश्किल हो रहा है. तो उन्हें लगता है कि अगर एक ऐसा इंसान जो हमसे ज्यादा ताकत मांगेगा, ज्यादा हमें स्ट्रेन करेगा, ऐसे आदमी को ना ही रखें तो बेहतर है.
In fact, the law of mental health is governed by two ministries. One is within the rights framework of the person with mental illness. One deals with the one ministry, which is the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. It deals with the medical aspects of the persons with mental illness, and the other deals with the non-medical aspects of the person with mental illness, which is the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment.
Though the PWD, the RPD Act actually provides for people with mental illness to be employed, they are still denied reservations actually in various government jobs. Till recently, actually, when we went for the UPSC civil services also, there were various advertisements that have come post 2006 Act in which the seats were not earmarked for persons with mental illness or psychosocial disabilities.
It is very common that people with mental illness reveal to their employers about their mental illness. This happens often in government sectors where there is job security.
So the Ministry of Social Justice also has the Law of Rights of Persons with Disability Act 2017, which basically deals with a lot of areas of non-medical issues of the persons with mental illness. A short form for that is PMI.
In 2006, I had a major attack, and I know that I was in the college itself, and it was a havoc.
We all have the right to feel good about what we are doing. So that is one reason. Of course, I think people with mental illness, I don't see a reason why they should be excluded from employment.
All the students came to know about it. My colleagues were knowing about it. And when I came back, everybody welcomed me.
As far as integration in the society is concerned, Mental Health Care Act Section 19(3) provides that government will make halfway homes, sheltered accommodation, community homes, and assisted accommodation, which government has not done so far. You see, there are many people who are picked up from the roads, or some others who are there, but they have no home to go back.
When it comes to talk about it, there is still a stigma which is there. There is still a restriction or a self-control which is there, and people do not speak about it.
And I wouldn't really expect candidates to talk about their blood sugar levels or their LDL levels in a job interview. For the same reason, I wouldn't expect them to disclose their mental health concerns as well.
People with mental health illness, they are labeled as psycho, and they are not considered very productive in the organizations, which is not true, because you can create policies for accommodating people with mental health illness, and you can create a policy like mental health day off where employees can avail those benefits, or you can create employee assistance programs where employees can be paired with a counselor or a therapist, and they can tackle their mental health issues. At the same time, they can be very, very productive, at the same time creative also in organizations.
Why we need to look at it differently is that it's a form of disability. So it's a form of differently abled people. You could classify them in the same league as having differing abilities.
Somebody has a fractured leg. तो आप उसको दौड़ने को नहीं कहते हैं, be it at work or be it at home. You support that person कि जब तक उसका ligament ठीक नहीं हो जाता या फिर bone ठीक नहीं हो जाता. Likewise, it's important to keep on making that comparison of mental health with physical health, because थोड़ा understanding better हो जाती है, आपको support provide करना थोड़ा easy लगता है, and it's important to be kind to a person who's going through a difficult phase, be it due to a physical health related issues or mental health related issues.
At least outside India, I have seen people vocal about it. They talk about it. They do not hesitate, and people are non-judgmental on such a topic. Whereas in India, we become judgmental.
Chapter 5 of the Mental Health Care Act, which deals with employment here, and it talks about computation of vacancies, notification of vacancies, forms and manners of vacancies, time limit, submission forms, and then there are central rules. Basically, all implementation of the act are governed by the state rules, and health is a state subject. So every state has a different rule. So Delhi will have a separate rule.
And due to the stigma attached and due to the very less awareness about these issues, actually people with mental illness continue to be discriminated, they continue to be removed from services or not. And in the first place, they'll not be employed. If you reveal that you have got mental issue, they're not employed. Even the government itself is discriminating, how can you expect others to do this?
So be it the employer or be it the employee, they sometimes don't know, even if that person comes out and says कि हाँ मुझे anxiety है, हाँ मुझे depression है, हाँ मुझे schizophrenia है, या हाँ मुझे bipolar है. They don't know how to actually help that person.
Someone I knew just asked me to work in a new firm that he was starting. I knew him very little. I'd only met a couple of times and he had mentored me in those couple of meetings. He knew about my illness, but he thought that I was very well qualified and probably a smart person. So he just wanted me on his team.
I think so. HRs are more equipped with this, are more trained with this. Having an HR who can also support people with mental health related problems can help.
I speak as a head of HR, and when I interact or interview candidates, I hardly come across anyone who's vocal about it. And perhaps we ourselves hesitate to talk about it.
I had an episode due to which some client projects got impacted. I was away from work for a little while. Actually, it was just around a week or so. But I felt very guilty at that point. And I thought, since he already knows, I should go and explain my situation to him. And I did that. But what happened was, it was seen as, I got burnout and that I had too many projects on my hand. So they took back most of my projects. And what hurt me the most was that they took back an incentive they had already given to me for my hard work.
They think people with mental health conditions are unpredictable. They think they would not be able to be as productive as other people can be. So these are some of the misconceptions or wrong attitudes that people have, because of which many people with mental health conditions are not able to be employed.
Employment opportunities for persons with disability and specific to persons with mental illness exist, but it is a matter of how the families or how the persons with mental illness are approaching or doing their homework in terms of understanding where those opportunities lie and how they are applying for those opportunities.
There is definitely a gap in terms of people, employees, sharing their mental health related issues with their employers. I can vouch for that there is that gap. And as I said, there are some reasons for that gap, because there's lack of awareness, lack of education.
Good organizations, even if you disclose that you've been through a mental health issue in the past, but you are able to work now, I think they do consider it, but only good organizations which have the awareness about mental health in general within the organization.
The organizations that have a mandate to employ people with disability, they would employ people with physical disability or other intellectual disabilities, but not people with mental health issues. One, because stigma. People with mental health conditions are still blamed for their symptoms. They are blamed for their disability.
To begin with disclosure first. Yeah. The bigger challenge is why organizations don't understand us also is because even when we consider the scenario today, there would be at any given point of time in the workplace, there would be a percentage of 10 to 20% of the workforce which is living with mental health conditions. It could vary from depression to anxiety to even more severe conditions, and where the employers are not aware of this condition, right? And that is why they do not get that kind of adjustment or accommodation which would make their workplace environment a bit more conducive to excel at their roles.
And it's always good for leaders to to have a significant bias towards making them succeed in the organizational context.
When one comes to know of that the person is actually having some mental health issues, they are actually discharged from service because many cases actually people with mental illness, they don't display symptoms all throughout the year or all through every time actually. So it may happen that there may be periodic issues that may come up, and during this period actually it comes out in the open.
So that's one strategy a lot of people that we work with have used, in which they don't straight away in the first meeting or in the initial days tell the employer about their mental health condition, but they slowly, once they're comfortable, start talking about their mental health.
I'm sure most of the recruiters, most of the HR professionals, they may give a second thought that should we hire a resource like this? Should we, take such a candidate with such an issue?
I have been with this organization for 21 years. I served one organization.
There are a lot of private organizations who do, skill assessment of persons with mental illness and do provide opportunities which are as simple as, sewing.
My college, they were not very happy when I told them that I want to now go and try my luck in MNC, but they said, okay, you go. And that MNC, they gave 63,000 rupees to my college. That was the policy, that I had to give either notice of 3 months or I had to pay.
In India, I would say COVID kind of, brought this into highlight about mental health issues, what they are, how to, face them, what to do about it.
It has to be looked at from a point where, the person who has a disability and is applying for the job has that potential to go out and apply and get a clearance.
After working 1 year, and then again I came back to this organization and told them that I have resigned from there. आप मानोगे, उन्होंने मुझे raise देके rehire किया.
Mental illness is not the same in everybody. Please do not stereotype people with mental illness. There are different types of mental illnesses themselves. Some are mild, some are severe, some improve, some don't. And each individual who has mental illness is also different.
Is another big NGO based in Chennai. They have also employed many such ladies that they also rescue women wanderers, get them treated, and then try to send them back to their homes. Those who can't go to their homes, they have formed their community. So they live in a community, they rented accommodation, they all live there and they do some work. And those who do not get jobs, they are given some jobs by Banyan NGO also.
The situation or the scenario, how it was probably a decade or two before, that has definitely changed in a good way.
Are we doing anything to change the scenario? Being stakeholders, I think the onus is on us to bring across our views to society at large, and gradually at least bring a attempt to change the hiring scenario for persons with mental illness.
We have had 3 such instances in the last 1 month where the employer who had no experience, no exposure to mental health or what mental illness is, readily agreed to try it. And they employed or they started giving work to our members from Manonati Foundation.
But I think the country is doing well in terms of awareness about mental health. Also, running campaigns and free programs for mental health. So hopefully we might be able to see a better future.
That another avenue which has not been explored so much in India is that clubhouse concept, which was started in 1948 in USA. Those patients who are released from mental hospitals and they don't have any job, you see, they join this clubhouse. They are called members. And there are some employees also in the clubhouse. and they have a tie-up with some of these employers, and then these people are given some jobs there, and if they are not able to go someday, they are not feeling well, then Clubhouse is informed, and Clubhouse sends some other member in their place. So employer's work does not suffer. If no other person who has recovered available, then the staff, somebody from the staff goes and works there.
There is such lack of awareness about mental health conditions. There are a lot of myths around it, misperceptions around it, and therefore stigmatization of mental health conditions. So it is perceived in a sort of a distorted way by potential employers and organizations.
और यही वजह है कि जो लोग रेगुलर फील्ड में आकर ठीक हो सकते हैं, ये कोई ऐसे बीमार नहीं होते कि मेंटली इल जो लोग हैं कि काम नहीं कर सकते, या ये बात नहीं कर सकते, या लिख नहीं सकते, या ये अपने काम को समझ नहीं सकते. इन्हें सिर्फ थोड़ी सी सहानुभूति की जरूरत, थोड़े से अच्छे एनवायरनमेंट की जरूरत, थोड़ी सी मोटिवेशन की, थोड़ी सी शाबाशी की जरूरत होती है, और ये कई बार आम आदमी से भी ज्यादा अच्छा काम कर सकते हैं. ये मेरा अपना एक्सपीरियंस है.
Have open conversations on mental health in your organization. It is possible that already you have employed people who have a mental illness, but they are not disclosing it.
We begin with disclosure. The organization also knows to begin with that, all right, that the people come with a set of challenges, and when we onboard them onto our company, we'll also need to make some adjustments for them. There will be a need for giving them some leeway because of their mental health conditions, and so on and so forth.
I'm working on a charitable cause and an initiative called Let's Walk Together with Vijay Nallawala and his team of experts. The aim of the initiative is that ability over disability, and we try to make sure that people who have mental health issues, they also gain employment, good employment in good organizations and workplaces across.
I can tell in my organization that, okay, I lost, say, my mother or my father, and I need 15 days off. But after that, what if I continue to feel low? What if I'm upset about it? I need some time to deal with that loss. An organization, there should be a space in the organization to talk, or a platform given where people can also take leaves to deal with their mental health issues.
I was in this situation once where I wanted to quit my job that I had only started 4 months ago.
Now, why not to say that, okay, fine, the loss has impacted me emotionally and I need to take off. This is the conversation that we don't have.
But there were a couple of people who were rooting for me. They wanted to give me a chance, or they liked my work or something like that. So I ended up sticking around in the company for 2 years, and I learned a lot. I did very well. I even got promoted once. So my good work compensated for my absence from work every once in a while.
So it's always better to disclose, keep the employer informed, and I'm sure someone who's a mature person, an organization which has people who understand this topic will surely give a very attentive listening to such subject, and they will accept the candidate with any such difficulty or a challenge or an issue.
Many organizations that have already started mental health leaves, where they encourage people to talk about if their mental health is impacted, to talk about it and to apply. They have started granting leaves for that.
I used to serve on the board of a company, and they were hiring somebody who disclosed their mental illness, and the hiring still went ahead, and that individual did work in the organization, was pretty successful. And the reason why I bring this up is that because somebody discloses the mental illness should not become a reason for not accepting the individual.
When we say disclosure would start changing the paradigm, it is easier said than done. It's a very threatening environment at workplaces. And I think what can change is when leaders start speaking about the mental health conditions, all right?
Don't just spread the information just like that to many people in the company, because then rumors will be created, gossip will be created, and it will percolate and it will trickle down to the entire organization, and people may start labeling that employee.
It is better, in my opinion, if they go for self-employment, because self-employment advantage is that if they are not well and then they don't go to their workplace, and nobody is going to check them, nobody is going to shout at them, and it is important that they have less stress, they have no tension. So if they work with some other family member, the family member will understand that he's not well, so he's not coming. If they employ somebody to help them, then that fellow can keep on working and they can rest at home. So self-employment is free of such tensions.
Various celebrities are coming about talking about their mental status, talking about depression, talking about various other issues actually, and this is actually welcome actually.
अफसोस की बात है कि बहुत सारी बड़ी बड़ी कंपनियां जिनके पास बेहतरीन मार्जिन होता है, ज़्यादा लोगों को रखने का, कंपनियों में प्रॉफिट्स होते हैं, वो लोग भी ऐसी कोई स्पेस क्रिएट नहीं करते जो कि स्पेशल चिल्ड्रन के लिए, स्पेशल पर्सन के लिए, या मेंटली रिटायर्ड या मेंटली इल लोगों के लिए जगह दे सके। तो मुझे लगता है कि हर संस्था को ऐसी सोच होनी चाहिए कि हमें समाज को सुधारना है, लोगों को सुधारना है, किसी फैमिली के किसी एक ऐसे शख्स को सुधारने की कोशिश करनी है, भले ही उसके लिए आपको थोड़े से पैसे, थोड़े से एफर्ट्स और थोड़ा सा एक अच्छा एनवायरनमेंट क्यों बनाना भी पड़े तो करना चाहिए।
But creating an environment or a situation where you make individuals feel welcome, having this disadvantage is extremely important.
Share your stories with other people also, because it kind of brings a close message that you're not in this all alone.
Understand the law of mental health and using it to your advantage because it has been made for you.
Mental health is just like any other disease, although the pain is much more because other people can't see it.
And people are in different kinds of phases in their illness. Some may be in remission mostly and may not even be having many episodes. And those who are having also, perhaps they're able to push through it, and work gives them a bigger, better purpose.
If the organization is having empathy and can provide a congenial environment to work, there can be very many possibilities for people.
Don't judge them easily. Treat them with respect. Be kind.
So being informed is the key, and taking action is also the key. We can't just sit and continue to live in a time where we feel that we are being discriminated or there is stigma. Somewhere we have to go ahead and try and ensure that we fight for it, like everybody else does.
There are so many people who are so talented out there, but they are suffering.
As we all know, work doesn't stop for anybody, but it's important to also acknowledge the time and effort one has invested, and one can invest even in the future, despite of experiencing those mental health issues.
Even if you're suffering from anything, don't feel that this is the end of the world. I have seen a lot of recoveries happening, and people are living full, successful lives as well.
Giving the person employment or giving a listing or guiding that particular person will be a help.
And when I talk about leaders sharing their stories with power, two fine examples that I would like to share today are one of them is Shubhrata Prakash. She lives with major depressive disorder, anxiety and ADHD, and she is a director at Niti Aayog, the government of India. Yeah. So a person of holding such a high position of responsibility and dealing with this kind of a condition, and the most powerful part of it is her opening up, writing a book on her journey, and being a fine advocate for mental health rights in India. Another example from our own community, drawn from our own community, and she's in fact part of our core team at Let's Walk Together, is Asha Pillai, who is the CFO at Shell and also co-chair at CII.
We need to see each individual with mental illness as an individual with his or her own strengths and challenges, and not stereotype them.
I would say that things are not as bad as they are, but people should read the Rights of Persons with Disability Act. Whatever benefits are available under it, they should take advantage of it. And similarly, they must have their disability certificate. Without disability certificate, they cannot apply for government jobs under that reserve category.
Because we people have one habit that, whenever we ask anything, people most commonly say that I'm fine, and then they hide behind that I'm fine, their mental state or an emotional state or the disturbance or a turmoil which is inside them. So I changed my question and I asked the person, so when was the last time you cried? And the answer was with a pause. The person said that it was last night. And then obviously my question was, what happened? You can speak about it. And then the person was completely open. The person cried again. The person was going through the emotional emotional challenge. The person was pretty disturbed, and the person was hiding actually behind the smile or behind saying that I'm fine. So many things which I came to know.
Everybody has lots going on in their lives than what they are projecting on in their social media or to the outside world. So to be kind and considerate of that.
I'll say that please feel free to speak up, speak out your thoughts. We all need to vent out our unhappiness, dissatisfaction, or whatever we are going through. And it's just that you need to find someone who will be listening to you without judging you, and someone who will be very sincere to help you navigate through this difficult situation.
Do not consider people who have mental health issues as disabled or they are not productive, which is not true, because they are highly creative, they are highly productive, they are quite sincere, have strong work ethics, just like any other normal people in the society. And we need to create an environment of inclusion in society so that they can thrive and they can thrive in the society with us.
To organizations and policymakers to treat people as their biggest assets, the people who are working for them, to invest in their well-being.
Individuals who are disadvantaged due to some form of illness, including mental illness, need to be given due consideration. And organizations which create a space for such individuals are the ones which are progressive and will stand the test of time. So if you can create opportunities, if you can craft roles, if you can provide the onboarding and sustenance for individuals who come with this disadvantage, it speaks very highly of the organization itself.
And also making EAP services and counseling services and therapy more accessible, while also maintaining or ensuring privacy and confidentiality. That would be another thing. And everybody to just treat each other with kindness and compassion.
अब मुझे लगता है कि भारत सरकार ने एक बहुत अच्छा कार्यक्रम शुरू किया कि भाई आप एक जो सोशल एलिमेंट है बिजनेस के अंदर उसको ऐड किया गया है, उसके लिए फंड्स तक मार्क किए गए हैं कि आपको 2% पैसा जो है वो सोशल सर्विस के लिए आपको रखना चाहिए। अब उसके अंतर्गत भी अगर लोग कर दें, थोड़ा सी मदद कर दें, थोड़ा सा एक कदम आगे आ जाएं, तो मुझे लगता है हज़ारों लोग ऐसे जो मेंटली इल होकर घर बैठ जाते हैं या वो बाकी अपनी फैमिली के मेंबर्स के ऊपर खामाखा बोझ बन जाते हैं, उन्हें भी काम मिल जाएगा। भले ही थोड़े पैसे कमाएंगे, लेकिन कम से कम आएंगे जाएंगे, उनका रूटीन बनेगा, 10-50 लोगों से मिलेंगे, देखेंगे, उनकी बात को समझेंगे, तो फिर से एक बार जो दिमाग है वो काम करना शुरू कर देता है और वो अपनी आम जिंदगी को बेहतर तरीके से निभा सकता है।